soft all the time. Like it's not what I'm talking about. And not like me. Get off me. I'm not the Stay Puft Marshmallow or the Pillsbury Boy. Do it again. Just stop. Anyway, right? The soft retirement is not George holding a cupcake saying, "Would you guys like to retire in the Philippines?" Say it, but do your soft retirement for the ladies.
Would you like to have a soft retirement in the Philippines?
What the hell? Okay.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. 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 Today's gonna be a good day. Yo, set your affirmations.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Good morning to you.
Magadam, magasula ala what they can get on Team Kong.
You said it's beautiful, that I would love to have a beautiful King Kong. Anyway.
That's my Cantonese that I learned in preschool.
Okay. So I just
I learned it in the 1970s in preschool. George did my hair today. He did my hair. Good morning, Sarah. Hi, beautiful.
Morning,
hey,
guys.
Joseph. Was that you down on Walking Street with the vampire teeth?
There it is, Joseph.
I was waiting for you to bite me, man.
Yeah, biting and sucking on some.
Let me say it for you.
I can't say that, but anyway.
I swear today will be your day, Lord. It is Sunday. And I'm about ready to hit you upside the head with the Bible. Hallelujah. You need some religion, you heathen. Right here.
It's called the brain duster.
Hit it, brain duster. Pretty, fix it.
Shit.
Pretty. Thank you. George Brush. Actually, it looks pretty good.
Hey guys, good morning or good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are a great bunch. To show your sign of support, again, right before you go to bed, go. Once your partner goes to sleep, and once they
watch
asleep,
it, sucker. Okay. Watch. Oh, look, babe.
Yeah. Once they're asleep, sneak up to their phone, and then slightly, gently unplug the charger where it looks like it's charging.
Oh, I did.
But it's not.
I did that last night.
Yeah. Just saying. Anyway, how are you guys doing today?
What's up with that? Okay.
When Heidi did that, she's pointing at a fake miniature kitten.
Be quiet.
Well, it can't be real.
I was looking at the dog with the porcupines in his face. I was kind of dreaming. So, all right, guys, we will be covering a subject that you guys are probably getting tired of. Dang, I was supposed to do the Beverly Hillbillies thing today. The Philippine Hillbilly. Remember, it was going to be part of the Social Security thing anyways. So, we will cover, I am on disability. Some of you know, some of you don't know. And George runs an online business where he does consultations for different things. And we live, and we will call it on a budget. We would be on one in the United States. In our retirement years, we decided to retire early. During the pandemic, we brought our tails on over during the pandemic, quarantined for 2 weeks. And we've been here for almost 3 years. And Social Security is a big part of our income. We're not even going to lie. It's going to be a lot for a lot of you that are coming. Most of the people, I probably say 80% will be solely relying on Social Security as the head of their income. So we're just going to go through basics, take your questions and answers and comments in regards to this. We'll be talking about what we feel is important. We will be discussing a few things today. So that's, what it's like to retire here on Social Security. And maybe we'll discuss what it's like to live in the U.S. Stick around to the end of this. We do have a story in regards to a couple that we think is well prepared, but yet they're still living what they actually word for word is almost hand to mouth. I mean, they just don't want to touch their savings. They're scared to live in the U.S. on, they have a 1.5 million
to
in
retire
savings.
In the U.S. You need it used to be 3 million to retire in the U.S., but now I believe it's 5.
Well, and not everybody's prepared correctly, because and looking at the statistics, and this is just an average. We're not saying everybody's checks. They could be way higher. I think it's like up to, and these are roundabout figures, guys. We're not Social Security professionals. These numbers are just what we've read in articles off the Social Security website from people that we've talked to. But on average, the retirement Social Security check will start somewhere 1,700, 1,800, 1,872 is what USA Today said. And what is that? AARP, if I'm saying that right. So 1,800, and can you live on that in the U.S.? So I'm going to let George go through here, the beautiful face of Philippine Antics, and let him say hello, baby face.
But yeah. Well, I mean, even a Social Security expert says nobody's going to be equal, but a
lot are getting the average check.
Correct. That's what I was getting at. The average is still going to be the same, and that even then, be aware that the averages online that you will see will be skewed. And what I'm saying is, for example, the average income in the U.S. before we left, okay, this is like what, 5 years ago, was 50 grand a year. I mean, honestly, I barely know. I said barely know anybody who made 50 grand a year. On average, they made 30 to 40, 45. When they hit 50, trust me, I know, because they would be in my circle of friends. But bottom line, my circle of friends was what 5? You know what I'm saying? But no, be aware again, even though the average Social Security that we're saying, and that's what they're reporting, be aware this may not be the norm. And I get some of you are like, have pensions, which again we're not talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that will be an actual extra on that. Correct. And understand, check what's good for you guys, because everybody's Social Security check will be different. Everybody's reasons, for collecting that will be different. And there are rules to it. I don't have all those rules today. I'm not even going to pretend that we have all those rules, because that is for you guys to check out. As I'm to understand that there are limits, of course, to just an SSI, which is not based on your earnings, but based on being a low income. You cannot live more than 30 days outside the U.S., and many have broken that rule and gotten stuck here. Second would be those, I believe, and I'm going to say I believe, and if you guys know, let us know. I believe also are the widowers benefits or something. There's a limit to that. Didn't we know somebody that told us up at the one office that they live X amount of months back in the U.S. because they're not allowed to be paid? They're not allowed to live
6 months.
Something like 6 months, and I'm not sure which one that is, but just check to see if the Social Security type
they have to fly back to the U.S. Basically live 6 months here, 6 months in the U.S. only because if they live longer than 6 months, then the Social Security will get cut off. Mm-hmm. Now, also be aware that now, remember last video I said sometimes I wish that I could have retired earlier. Again, it's not a push to have you retire early, but I suggest you do. Now, if you can get your early retirement, I suggest you do, but not necessarily. Again, you don't have to listen to me. But my personal opinion, only because I've experienced this, and again, well, the benefits of me not retiring early is I would not have met my wonderful wife Heidi. If I retired early. Well, like I said, if I retired early, I would not have met you.
Yeah, because you were gonna...
aware also. Remember when I said pensions and all that? A lot of people don't prepare to retire. They don't. They really don't. Now, did I? Sadly, I did. And I say sadly because I cashed in my 401 early, way earlier, like years before Heidi.
Same here. I ain't even gonna lie about that. We both had.
Right. So I cashed in my 401, and when I cashed in my 401, honestly, I could have retired. I honestly could have retired. I could have, not in the U.S. though. I could have flown back to the Philippines and retired a happy life. And honestly, those thoughts have come to my head. And but there's a lot of things that I use that money on. Again, I used it for my kids in the U.S. and and I would not have met Heidi. But point being, I mentioned that because sometimes some of you guys will wonder, like, hey, he's not old enough to retire. How is he getting this money? And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I could have been one of those. What I'm saying is, don't forget, a lot of people put money in their 401 way before they're retired to cash it in, and then get a lot of money back. You know what I'm saying? So just let you know, again, that's somewhat a little off the side, not necessarily Social Security, but if you have a pension, Social Security helps. if you have a 401k, Social Security helps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and everybody's Social Security is going to be different. And
Right.
This gives us a chance to say that we've never claimed that we stayed in one career, a high-end career where we were supposed to get like the max Social Security. Because I want to say that, of course, there are trolls, haters, and people always trying to pull down on you. It's not like we've ever tried to hide anything. So in saying that, I've had questions in the past. It's like, Heidi, you were a nurse at one point. How come you're not making way more on your disability? Heidi, what happened to your working at Home Shopping Network? Why didn't you get more money? Well, actually, it could have been a lot lower. And it's because these consistent careers have been since the 90s. Okay. Never claimed that they were most recent. I get that they go back and look through that, but I never claimed to be a big baller. Never claimed to be, never did claim all these things that people keep putting into our comment section. So we have major trolls, of course. But I made the base money back in the 90s, guys. I never said that I was an RN, a registered nurse. Okay. I worked in the neurological field at Truman Neurological Center, and I worked there for a few years. And then most of my career was one-on-one. Okay, where I worked.
LPN?
Huh?
It's an LPN.
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 And I worked one-on-one as I was going to school. So most of my career was where I went into group homes, okay, with disabled adults. And actually, that's when they started those group homes back in the 90s in Missouri and Florida, and you took care of people. My sister, one of my sisters, actually two. I have one in Ohio now that does it currently. And then I had another one. So us girls did work. So in saying that, my Social Security, okay, is not at 3,000, and George has not collected his as of yet. We have to wait. Now, he did qualify for his Social Security. No, he is not a U.S. citizen. Am I here? He is not a U.S. citizen. He is a Filipino citizen, but he was in the United States for how many years?
26.
Okay. And he was legally there.
Well, mind you, I'm 49, so do the math.
Right. So we still have to wait till he's 62 in order to collect. And that's fine. We get by in the Philippines on what we actually have with his online work and everything and the YouTubing. Then we do just fine. I mean, we don't want for nothing. We're happy. We can afford things. We don't need to go on expensive vacations, as we said before, but you can live in the Philippines on Social Security, guys. But I would make sure that you have that amount minimally at that 1,800 before you come here.
Right.
Can you live here on less than 1,000? The answer is yes. We watched an entire show yesterday on, I believe it's called Boss Asia. I forgot the name of the vloggers that do it. But they spoke to people for like an hour, and they actually wish they were making 60,000 pesos a month. And that'd be about give or take about 1,000, because it's at the exchange of 54. Okay, so that puts you about 55,000 pesos. But that would be good money to a Filipino. So, and they said, yes, they would have to budget on that amount, but they've got lots of people in their house. That's the big difference. It's just the two of us and a couple cats and a dog here. So that's what's, actually is going on that. But we'll go through inside this description. I'm going to put the link to our other Social Security videos. We've done several of them, but it'll list the forms and everything. And the video gives you a little bit more information if you guys want to watch it later. So I've just updated it with that and everything. George, go through and say the hellos before we get into some of this and answer some questions.
Yeah, and just real quick.
The best that we can, guys.
Yeah, just so you guys know, as far as history goes, honestly, now I'm bringing this up only because, Scott unfortunately isn't in the room today. But Scott, for instance, right, is working on something like one of the rare vessels out there in the ocean right now, and he's working on it. What I'm saying is, sometimes I claim of a lot of things I've worked on, and when Abrams, F-16s, but guess what? I'm just a normal guy. Same thing with Scott, working on a extraordinary vehicle. What I'm getting at too is, be aware that I know a lot of people think that if you have a background, for example, you're a lawyer, engineer, or everything, you're going to make great money.
Not
necessarily, because honestly,
I think the LPN 101 and what's it called? I was making 15 back in the day.
Right.
Only RNs back then were making the 24,
and,
23.
Well, even then, what I'm saying is
on the state
that
in the facility.
I know a lot of engineers that don't work on engineering backgrounds.
Well, yeah.
And I personally did not. Now, was I hired in because of my engineering background? Yes. But here's the thing. I got more money doing jobs that have nothing to do with engineering. They just like, oh, hey, you're this. Let me offer you this. And then I'm like, wait, the engineering guys are offering me X amount of money and you guys are offering me more. Gee, I wonder where I would go to.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So this is
like
in the US.
Me. Instead
this
of going back
US,
to a nursing job, I decided to go to Home Shopping Network because I went in as customer service.
Right.
And it was paying way more to work there. At $12, right. I'm like nursing, at 12, 13, 14, one-on-one or something, or co-work at HSN to do their service. And from service, I went into tech support and fixing their computers and the head of the department. And that's actually where it went from there. And no, I made more there than I did anywhere else. So
right. So there's, again, everybody's
career and pay for their Social Security will be different. Correct. For sure.
They will be different. Right.
Like when I worked at 900 line, fist over cash, man.
Man, those 900 lines, I'll tell you what.
They dial it up.
Right.
To do the.
The dial up on, babe, that's different. 1-800 lines are straight on the phone.
I know. It's a brain.
Huh?
Hello, Big Daddy.
Oh.
Hello. Say hello.
Anyway.
Wait, what are you doing, Big Daddy?
Candy cane. Hello, candy cane.
What are you doing this morning? That's where George
made up in the next motel, candy cane.
That would be George's. Oh my God, that was a
great movie.
Oh my God. All right, let's go ahead.
That was Paul Walker, actually.
Who that is.
Yeah, William Masala says, what is the best way to get your SSA check in the Philippines? Direct deposit to a Philippines bank. Oh, I see what you mean.
Are you still running your channel?
Now, be aware the Philippines somewhat have a slower processing rate.
That should be popping in the Philippines, I believe. So.
And that being said, what I'm saying is now, if you have an American bank,
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few opinions on that.
Right. Well, from our experience, when you have an American bank, usually your check, when it deposits, is the next day or the same day, depending on your bank. On some Philippine banks, now, this is where it kind of gets wonky. Depending on your bank, it can be within the week and it can be within the month, depending on your bank. Where there's like where the money hits limbo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because our bank does that. It says it can hold it for up to a week. So,
right, and
I get it, but
sometimes it varies. Like for instance, this week is a bad week. What I'm saying is, it's the holiday
there could
week.
Be a few days.
So if we're getting it, it'll get delayed. We're talking about it from experience.
People do it. You definitely aren't going to do it by check. So most people honestly just leave it in the U.S.
Yes.
But here's the problem with that is you want to make sure that you either own the house and someone that keeps up on the mail. Some people end up getting, like we have a family house back in the U.S. and that's how we actually do it. It's currently going into a bank and that's how we're accessing the money. Then you wire it over to you or take it out of the ATM. The others will actually, we'll probably get a few comments on this or people comment how you get your money. The other is some, and there's quite a few that have just opened up an account here, but that's when they live here long-term. You have to have a long-term visa, depending on the bank. You want to choose the right bank, and then you have to go through a stage of transferring the money to start getting it here. Most of the banks, you end up having to fill out a piece of paper, and then you have to send it. You have to inform Social Security. Some do it through the Manila Embassy. You can call them, do a couple things, but you have to go in, as I'm to understand, because I haven't had it paid here yet. You have to physically go into the bank and pick it up. They usually don't attach a card to it. I'm kind of 50-50. We've discussed it over time, having it paid here, because we've had to have our one of our debit cards replaced twice here, and that was not easy. We had to have it sent by FedEx, cost $160 to get it here.
And that's with U.S. support, meaning my family's in the U.S. and they, help us out.
Made sure it got here, and they picked the card up at the house, and so it became a major problem. The problem is when you're dealing with Social Security is a lot of people don't update that they've moved. They don't update their banks. They don't contact their banks and keep in contact. Like every few months, we contact our bank and say, hey, we're here. This is what's going on, because that would be, we were talking about that British guy, Ken. That's exactly why his check got cut off a year ago. Was two reasons. One, he didn't tell Wells Fargo that he left. the actual bank statements came back. They shut his account down, so Social Security stopped it. Social Security is not going to send that check anywhere. So his money's been building up for the past year. Now that he's here, it's going to be a big hot mess because he doesn't have a bank account there. He doesn't have a bank account in the UK to set it up, and he would have to establish that here. Problem is Ken's $2,000 behind on his fees to keep his immigration going, which means he needs an up-to-date ACRI card. So it's been almost a year or something since he's paid, and he doesn't even have an up-to-date ACRI card to go get his bank account. So the gentleman that's helping him, if he would take some of those allotted funds and kind of put it towards his immigration and get the ACR and then get the bank, he has to like all kinds of stuff to get that bank account open. Then he's got to get the paperwork, Social Security, and then get it going. He does have another account, he said, in the UK that has same thing, 40 or 50,000 in it. Same thing. Someone stole his luggage at a place at the airport. Then he claimed the account got shut down because he called. He never got a replacement card because it was from the UK. The guy's in a hot mess. Banking can be a major problem. I don't care what any channel, any media place says. That will be your big problem is the banking. So ours, yes, is currently in the U.S. A lot choose to do that. But a lot of people that leave, hate to say it, they burn all bridges. They don't have a home anymore, apartment anywhere. They sell their homes. They come on over, and then they're just relying. There is another option, which is the international mailbox, which is a digital one. And a lot of people, it's got an actual physical address and it all comes there. You go online, you actually check out your mail, and you can have it forwarded or take the information and it shows that it's been read and everything. So you could still keep it that way versus a house. There are some travelers that do use that also, but you still have to update Social Security with your physical address. So
right. And like, okay, now Heidi mentioned Ken. It's not just him. What I'm saying is a lot of people, again, that have U.S. bank accounts, here's the problem. There have been several expats that sometimes we kind of screw up, not necessarily us, but I mean, when I'm saying we as a collective, that, you try to log in and you screw up, you're like, oh crap, it's the wrong password. Because, everybody changes their password every now. Sometimes they force you to first change the password. And then it kicks you out and it blocks you. Guess what? If you have a U.S. bank account and you're blocked from your own account because you screwed up so many times in your password, guess what? To fix it, you have to fly back to the U.S. And this has happened to a lot of expats who have no regrets, are either lying or have not lived life. Now, this is somewhat true. There is no such thing as a perfect life, ever, whether you're working or retired.
Yeah, it's like you wait your entire life, to retire. And then once you're there and you're at that point, that's a whole different type of regret, multiple things
It is.
What
now,
you did do, what you didn't do.
Now, the question is, what kind of regret? Again, it's not...
There's lots of different regrets.
Right.
And we've had
what
that
Suck says, as he says, that if somebody says, oh, everything's perfect, yeah, everything's great.
They're full of shit. And I've heard that from a few vloggers lately.
Correct.
They're so full of crap. I own this, I do that, I have this, I have that. First off, I haven't seen any proof of that. Secondly, it's the rest of them, like we said, that brag that they don't have regrets, that they do this and they do that. Or the ones here, the ones that speak the highest of, oh my God, stop complaining, or oh my God, get over it, or things are so perfect, or you got to be this or that. It's how everybody adjusts and how everybody actually gets to the
let's go to the
finish
extreme.
line.
Honestly, you honestly think that Hugh Hefner did not have any regrets?
Yeah, money doesn't fix everything.
Money or women does not fix everything. Or men.
No,
it does not fix everything.
We've met enough rich people in our life, both of us, to actually know.
Yes,
I've been way at the top. Both me and George. It's the one good thing is we both traveled the world. We both met super uber rich people. Been around the uber rich people.
Joking.
But I have literally been with hillbillies in the Ozarks, like literally living in a school bus with no windows, out 40 acres in like off of dirt roads. It took almost 100 miles to get back to civilization situation, and they could party down with the best of them.
Right.
I've enjoyed my life with the rich and all the way down with the poor. Do I have regrets? Sure I do. I wish I'd have done better at my retirement. And you think about that usually after the fact. I was just telling George that I wish I'd have saved a little more of this, a little bit more of that. And God, if I'd have known how bad my health was going to turn out, like literally since we've been here in 3 years, my health has deteriorated in half. And it's not because I'm in the Philippines. It's because of my health. And people warn you about that stuff all your life. You know, be careful this, don't lift this, don't do that, watch what you eat, watch this. And then it's like I told
Wow.
George, I said, had I known that it could be that in a year I'm going to be full-time in a wheelchair, would I have done this?
There's never a perfect time for
Retirement,
anybody.
yeah.
Never a perfect time. Again, I'm obviously we don't get paid if you retire early.
There could be a need.
but-
There could be needs
but
to
what I'm saying
retire
is-
early.
Is again, it's
Needs or
there is no
reasons.
perfect time. And okay, let's say we're like, I know Heidi was talking about her, but
Mhm.
honestly, I'm talking about really rich people in the U.S. that I personally know
Yeah.
that have arguments in front of me.
Yeah.
Couples have arguments in front of me. These are freaking millionaires that have arguments. The guy is so rich. Honestly, I'm not making this up. He is so rich
Is that
they
the contract?
yeah,
defense
yeah.
guy?
They named
Okay,
they
yeah.
named a gondola for his dogs. That's how rich this guy is. Like
They did.
a public gondola for his dog. I mean, he's that rich. And guess what? They argue back and forth, and it's over BS. And I'm like, huh, okay. But anyway,
But they were both for their defense. Didn't they both work out of the house most of the time?
well, one of them's practically retired. All he did was sit around. And
yeah. I
but what I'm saying is, money does not fix everything.
know. No, it doesn't.
It never does. You will always complain about something. And
And
like,
the happiest people
correct.
in the world that are here, they're here. I tell George, I said, it's amazing that people are that have very little, and there is a big gap in people with money and the poor that are here. Most are poor, but the uber rich are the ones that are controlling the Philippines for the most part. A lot of political things going on, hard to find work, but it's the poorest people that I've seen that are they're happier than pigs in mud. It's really amazing. And yeah, there's going to be retirement regrets. We retired early. Regrets? Did I feel like a wabbit? Regrets. There is, and we told you guys. Do you know what it's like for me to stare at this face all day and this mug that's got an attitude? You got an attitude all day, and all you do is sit around, and that's all you do is sit around and read, and that's all you do is go out for what? I'm just messing with you. No, it is, guys. I remember my grandparents. They got so much in a rut after they retired, and they did retire after 62, that I watched them. Same routine. I'd lived with them for an entire summer when I was 12 years old in Florida, and I watched them in that condominium, just like same thing. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner was exactly down to the T, the same hour. That's not my house back in Ohio. That's not the way things worked. It just wasn't. Went to my grandparents' house and everything was scheduled. And it was like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, same time. They watched TV and Jeopardy, and they went for walks at the same time. They went out to eat the same times each month. Everything was the same, except for when we went to Disney and we went out and did side things. It was exciting, but same thing. Like every day after lunch, I'd go sit out on the balcony and watch the water or go swimming. Everything was the same in their retirement. And so it's a... Was you not going to slurp that? Oh, Lord, give me strength. May 1,000 trolls suck your face dry by noon.
Really?
Just messing. Please troll us.
I can go out there. I can find some trolls.
Yeah, I'm here. I think disability is a little different. I haven't gotten an answer. Probably need to call Social Security again and find out. During the pandemic, they were sending out forms. Pre-pandemic, that was the SSA 7161, SSA 7162. It's kind of like a proof of life. They check on your address once you leave the country, but that was really pertaining to people on just Social Security. I check in every few months with Social Security. They know where I live. I'm even registered with the U.S. Embassy. And so far on disability, I haven't received any form. I didn't receive one in Mexico during the pandemic or pre-pandemic. And then when we were here, we've been here almost 3 years. I haven't received anything. Now, they did just start them back up last year. There was a couple people that contacted. There was a whole thing where they hit a bunch of people and they stopped their checks this February and last February. I have not received one. Now, I don't know if people on disability is different, okay, because we check in all the time on that. But they do send these letters out. I have yet to receive one. The link that I put inside of the description of this video, you guys can check out later, It gives like the Cebu consular services that can be done. It gives the SSA.gov on the foreign. There is a foreign telephone number in the U.S. Hey, Mike, what is poppin'?
Hey, Mike in the house.
Hey,
Mike, how
sweetie.
Man.
Now, here's another thing. Canceling Medicare. Before we get any further, let's talk about canceling Medicare. Do people do it? Yes, they do. Do I recommend it? I'm going to say no, because there's a fee. Once you leave the U.S., you'll no longer get that supplement because you no longer physically have a ground in the U.S. Now, some people choose to leave a home in the U.S. and they go back to the U.S. every 6 months, every 4 months, and they reestablish that they live there still. Then they can keep that supplement. I would check if you're getting a supplement through Social Security with Medicare and all of that, you'll lose that extra pay that goes towards your whatever it is, $175 a month or whatever. You'll be paying the $175. Some people are at zero, some are at 30 or 40 a month. Mine was down to zero before I left. Now I have to pay the $175. Okay, so if you keep it, is it worth it? It is currently the only insurance I have besides the second statement I'm going to make about medical, which is self-pay. Okay, we are self-pay. I pay for everything. I pay for my medicines, including my own iron pills. I deal with anemia. I get blood work done every few months. I just had this right here was just shaved off recently, which is healing, by the way. And thank you for all the comments on that. Everything is self-pay, guys. If I need to have heart surgery or something, I would stay with friends or family in the U.S. And that's when you have to have the oh shit funds. You want to at least have a round trip ticket, $2,000 set aside to never be touched no matter what, to take you back there. But I would say more, because if you're not staying with family, not everybody has family. It'd be like our friend that is there in Vegas right now. Who's your best friend there in Vegas? Campbell. David. He's actually staying at the VA. We don't know an update on him or anything.
No, he's right.
1 second. With the self-pay, you're going to need that money to stay in the U.S. if you're going to have a heart surgery. If you have to have a heart surgery here, it is not going to be extensively several $100,000 like it would be in the U.S. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing at that. It'd probably be starting at about $40,000 U.S. or more. So you lose that Medicare. Some people drop the Medicare. That's going to have to be another decision that you actually keep, but it's a lot harder to reestablish it. And there are going to be fees and penalties.
Isn't that 10% per year?
I don't know if it's per year. They might be right. Anybody, I don't know if it is 10% reinstatement. I don't think it goes up 10% and then it's 20% and 30. I think it's 10%. Yes. On top of how many years. I think if it's been 36 months, I think they actually take the amount and then times it. I'm not sure on that. I just know there's a penalty. I'm not even going to pretend that I actually know what that is. So we are self-pay on medical and medicines. That is something besides visas that you have to figure in is your medical insurance, guys. I don't give a shit who says it. It's not easy to get the insurance. Most of you that's in our room right now have some sort of medical conditions. You guys are usually over 50, in your 60s. We didn't all take good care. So when you go to get that insurance, as we've heard from the average person, when you go to get it, it could be several hundred, 500, 600 a month because you have pre-existing. And as of right now, before I left, they won't insure me. They won't insure me. They will only do what I call it clismic catastrophic nutball package or something. You want to charge me $15 million, billion, zillion dollars to be covered just to give me like $50. Was that an exaggeration?
Right.
Not really. So yes. Okay. Times the length of time. Okay. Yeah. That's what George said. Yeah. So that is for sure on that. Banking, we've already went through. That is on my list to actually cover. Banking for sure. I would recommend that if you have the capability of leaving it in the U.S., you still have a home there, family members, somebody that watches your mail, keep an eye on your bank, then maybe. I don't see that there's any law breaking when you're actually doing that. We can legally say that this is okay. If not, they end up getting the online mailbox, the international mailbox, the digital mailboxes.
Yeah, now what Heidi's saying is be aware that the residence of your bank does not necessarily mean the residence of your house. So is Social Security aware of the bank it's going to? Yes. Is Social Security aware of where we live? Yes. There's a difference between the two. know what I'm saying? So Social Security is aware of our bank, and Social Security is aware of where we actually are.
Real quick, Lieutenant Nescafe, interesting name. I would read the Philippine tax code. Okay. At 180 days of being in the Philippines, you become a tax resident. It has nothing to do with citizenship or residency. It does, because at that point you are a resident. So
right,
it does.
You become a resident.
It does state that in talking to her, which you're right on that. But you do have to pay. Anybody can go to the BIR and talk to them. There are a lot of vloggers that are U.S. that are registered here as self-employed that pay their taxes here. And you're going to pay a lot less taxes, guys. I don't get those that are still trying to pay the U.S. We just seen one recently do an entire thing where he showed his income and he's still talking about, I pay my taxes because I'm an American back in the U.S., but he's paying a lot more for that. I believe YouTube right now is taking 40% out, or it's something like astronomical. And once you're here, you're working here. What's the deal with saying that I work online and that my company is in the US and that's where my residency is? No, you've been here for years. You actually are recording here. You're editing here. You're doing your live streams here. You're doing everything here. That would make you liable to the Philippines. So the next thing that I was going to discuss is I was just reading an article, CNBC, where it says a lot of people are going with what's called a soft retirement, or going into a soft savings, or like George, just soft, right? The soft retirement is not George holding a cupcake saying, would you guys like to retire in the Philippines? Say it, but do your soft retirement for the ladies.
Would you like to have a soft retirement in the Philippines?
Soft retirement. Does anybody want to guess what a soft retirement in the Philippines means? And be nice, I chosen one. The soft retirement is the new generation. What do they call them? Triple X, double X, soft X, woke X.
Hey, be nice.
You weren't awoke this morning. So what it is, guys, is the new generation is actually being called, I guess, Gen Z, is in a more relaxed approach. I guess that's kind of where I am right now. Or it's in the fact that a lot of them are working online. They're just not putting anything away, nor do they care. They're going to live in the moment. Now, living la vida loca, right? Or what's the other one? Living in the moment. Oh, that's crazy life. So what is living in the moment? There's another name for that, right? Isn't there a Latin term for living in the moment? Say la vida. Oh,
no. Well, there's carpe diem, seize the day.
There it is. I guess so. Thank you so much for that Latin lesson there, Georgie. That's what they're living in. So the new generation, which I guess would be our kids, that are in their 30s, are actually just seizing the day, living the moment. And we're kind of like that, kind of like when I eat a cupcake and George says, that's the 12th cupcake you've had today. I said, leave me alone. I'm living in the moment. I'm joking. That's what you all would like to think. George eats more cupcakes than the average person. But no, you have to actually plan to retire if you guys come to the Philippines. You can't use that attitude and come here and say, I'm just going to worry about it when I get to the Philippines. You just can't do that. That's the lesson to learn from that. That is for sure, because there is a lot. I'm still learning after 3 years. I still have a lot of complaints. I'm adjusting, always out of stock, always, in some areas. For here, we're living in an area where, like I said, we lose maybe 2% of electricity and internet. The internet's going to be unstable. See, it's glitchy. I'm sure you guys have been seeing the glitchiness today also. What's wrong with you, dude? So you have to prepare. And when you get here, it's best that you guys do try to come here a few times before and get to know your areas, check out the Airbnbs. This soft preparing, a lot haven't even put anything into Social Security because it's all been online, self-employed, and they're in big trouble at this point. That is for sure. We were discussing that, when to retire, how soon to retire, don't wait to retire. And then recently I mentioned there was a few vloggers that actually have made the statement that if you don't make more than $30,000 a year, with your Social Security, which is $3,000 a month, guys, and not everybody's making that. The average, and if Mike is still in the room listening, is not going to be $3,000 a month. I think it maxes out at X amount, and $3,000 a month for Social Security It's not going to happen. Not everybody has pensions and Social Security and a bunch of savings. So I'm going to tell the story of this woman. And guys, go ahead and comment and we'll get your comments. Basically, there is a couple that is 70 years old. They retired with their Social Security at 62. The woman said that her husband is an absolute cheapskate at this point. They're living in the U.S. They have a house. The scenario is they have a house, a $500,000 home. They still owe $100,000 on. So they're making house payments. They have a retirement savings of $1.5 million. Okay. And he now has went out and got 2 jobs. This is living in the U.S. This is a real story. That the couple is, the husband is still worried. He's living in the U.S. He's worried. He doesn't turn on the air conditioning. He drives an old cheap car. He hasn't bought a car in years. He wears old clothing. He doesn't go out and buy any. He won't let her buy any. Her husband is still, she's cutting her husband's hair. He won't even pay for a barber. And remember, there were 2 Social Security checks coming in. They both had good careers. So I imagine they've got several thousand coming in a month. Plus, he's working. He went back to work, and they're 70 years old, and this is their current situation. He won't let her take any money out of the 1.5 million account for anything. He makes them stay at $70 hotels in the U.S., and I'm pretty sure a $70 hotel is not going to be a good place. I'm pretty sure a $70, even that's got to be cheap, babe. That's got to be like a major, I hate to say it, that's got to be bed bug city and beyond hotel or something. $70 a night, guys. And she feels she has put into half of everything, and he won't let her spend a dime. Like, he holds all the purse strings, and I get it. I really do. Actually, I'm wrong. It's 1.8 million. I'm looking at the 3rd page of the article. 1.8 million is what's in their savings.
Yeah,
okay.
Again, like I said, it's not enough.
They're saying it's not.
It's not enough.
He won't let her touch anything. He's thrifty on everything. And she had asked the article of CNBC whether she can touch the money. He said, actually, the retirement guy said exactly what we said. That is really doing good. That is way better than the average American at that retirement stage. But he knows that it's expensive to live in the U.S. He thinks she should be able to spend money at 70. And babe, they could die at 73. I mean, and they don't have anybody to leave it to on top of that. So that's really being chintzy. Sorry. That's really being chintzy. I've got like $400 in my non-squirrel account, and I'm ready to buy pizza, man. What is that?
Oh my God.
The C's per capum, Capricorn, what? Seize the day. What is it again?
Carpe diem.
Oh, okay. Carpet on my knees. DM.
Okay.
And so drop my DM on my carpet. I'm on my knees thing. Yeah, seize the freaking day, man. Because as soon as this live is over.
No. It has nothing to do with it.
No, you have to think about that, guys. I mean, what would you guys do? That's when we said, you guys have heard us say in the past that we did a whole article on that woman that was in her 70s. She had like a $2,200 Social Security check, and she was living out of her car. She lost her house. Her husband died. Everything went to medical bills. The woman was living in her car. For crying out loud, she had nowhere to go and no family members. And I'm like, yeah, I would definitely be hitting Mexico in that car.
Right. No. At the age of 50, in order to retire at the age of 50, you need to at least have 6 times your income saved
Hey,
up.
Big Dave.
Now, the problem with that is do the math. It's not even a question. Okay. I'm just giving you an example. Now, I'm not dissing the article, though I am, but I'm not being specific. But do the math. To hit,
I mean, tell us, guys. We got 58 people in the room. What would you do if you had 1.8 million and you had several thousand in Social Security?
Don't listen to the internet for the most part.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And remember a few things. It kind of goes both ways. You guys have seen the extreme where you've had the YouTubers that said, hey, I make a lot of money. This is how I live. Don't come. That's up to you guys if you want to listen to all that crap about I'm rich. Here I am. I'm living my best life. Don't even bother. Good for you. Then you got like where we talk about, hey, we're real people. We're on Social Security. We get a little money here, there. But we're still living a decent life. But be aware, not only is it about how much money you got coming in, you guys got to survive in the Philippines. There's like a twofold. Then you guys have where I have seen, and I love these channels. God knows a lot of them we like for entertainment value, but sometimes it gets old when we hear, hey, I survive on $1,600 a month, but yet they got thousands coming in every month because that's what they have. Okay. So they've got their Social Security, they got pensions coming in, and then they're making several thousand a month. Some of those vloggers' total incomes are $6,000 to $8,000 a month. Some. Okay. And we're talking small channels, like at 100,000 and under, at 80,000, 60,000, 50,000. They're still making a couple thousand on their YouTube, couple thousand in pensions and all that. And then they're saying, hey, I survive on 1,600 a month. It's up to you guys if you want to believe that that's how they're living, is just on that money. And then you get here and you're like, how come I can't afford to sit at a coffee shop all day? Or how come I can't go out to eat all the time? Or how come I can't go on vacation to all these different areas and sit at a resort for a week? And how come I can't do that? And sometimes it's the opposite. You're actually going to see where they're not showing you that they are doing all of that stuff and then still living on that. You guys have to do your own research, you have to, as we've been saying for years, you have to do your own due diligence.
Right. Use common sense. Use your own intelligence. You are a guy, again, you guys are here in this channel. You guys are smart. And like I said, I'm not making this up. Again, you can look in the article at age of 50, how much you need to retire. The article states that all you need is basically 6 times your income, annual income. 6 times. Okay, let's do the basic math. At 50, to hit retirement age, you have to be 62. So that's 12 years. This article says all you need is 6 times. It doesn't take a freaking genius to figure out. That's not going to make it. That's not going to cut it.
If it's that bad where he won't even turn on the air conditioning and he won't buy anything, go anywhere, or live, they're 70 freaking years old. I'm sorry. I would have to nip that in the bud. And it's going to be like, dude, let's do something. I don't know if it's that bad.
Surviving and living are 2 different things.
Right. Pay off the house and then take the money afterwards and sell it. And then take that and go to Mexico or go to the Philippines. If your life, those people aren't living. They would be way better living here than I would be coming here. At least they could go on vacation all the time. They would have enough income monthly to live in one of those.
1.8 million? Are you kidding me?
Babe, they could live in that house that had a swimming pool, air conditioning all the time. They could have a housekeeper. Correct. They could have some extra person come in and be a nurse for them at that money. Instead, she's got to cut his hair and she won't buy clothes. That's when we tell that you guys need to decide whether it's really time for you to come with the money that you have or not to actually do that.
Again, we don't get paid for every American that lands here in the States, or we don't get paid. I mean, it's not like, again, we're just telling you how it is. I mean, these Americans that live in the US are literally scrimping their life away and like,
or living somewhere else. That's for
live somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up, so